just made an old-timey vanilla wafer cake. So let's go make this. Y'all, this is such a fun recipe. So let's get started on it. Now, let me tell you something. I heard about this little recipe, and it's called a vanilla wafer cake. And honey, and it got no flour in it that you put in it. And I was probably about, I would say 11 years old when I heard about, the first time I heard about this little recipe. My mom she was pretty sick, and this lady was there visiting someone else. And she sat there and she was talking about this little recipe, and I thought, well, I ain't never heard of it. And she wrote it down probably, oh my gosh, a good many years ago, honey. And I won't tell how many. But I said, well, I want to try that one day. And I started thinking about that. So I'm going to try this today for my grandkids. So let's get started. Okay, in my bowl, I've got me a stick and a half of butter. And what we're going to do, we're going to blend this a little bit with a mixer. And then we're going to gradually add about a cup and a half of sugar. So I'm going to blend this a little bit, and I'll be right back. All right, now we're ready for our sugar. Now we're not going to pour it all in at one time. But honey, I told you a cup and a half of sugar, but it's really a cup and 1/4. So we're going to gradually pour a little bit of this in, and we're going to blend that in with the butter. And that's what we're going to do until we get all the sugar incorporated. We're just going to gradually keep blending it in. And we'll blend it till it gets fluffy. All right, we're getting all that blended in and fluffy. You know, that fluffy word reminds me when I was, when my uncle was still alive. He's gone on to be with the good Lord. But I used to say, I'm so short and chunky. And he would always look at me and he'd say, honey, you are not chunky. He said, you are pleasantly fluffy. And don't you ever feel bad about that. And I used to always laugh when he would say that. But he really meant it as a sweet compliment. And he was such a sweet man. His name was Uncle Coot, and we all loved him. He was such a kind man. All right, honey, we got this all fluffy now. We're going to move on to the next ingredient. All right, now we're going to add 6 eggs to this, butter and sugar, but we only want to do one in at a time while we, mix this together. And this little 6 eggs is what I'm going to hold this all together, I'm sure. And what you'll do, you'll just blend, 1 egg at a time with this little mixture here. All right, here's our last egg, and we're going to get that blended in, and then we'll move to the next little ingredient. Okay, honey, before I pour in my vanilla wafers in this, I was going to let you see the consistency of this. This is about the way it needs to look while you did your little blending to it. All right, now I'm going to add in a 12-ounce bag of vanilla wafers. Now, you do need to crush them. Now, mine's going to be just have a little bit of big in them because I had to get my rolling biscuit roller this morning and roll these babies out to crush them. Because of all times, my food processor that I do all of my crushing and grating cheese had to break down today. But honey, that's all right. You always got something to work with in the kitchen when you need it. All right, let me go get me a knife and cut this so we can add this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I should have had this already cut open, but I didn't. So we're going to add these vanilla wafers in here. And what we're going to do, we're just going to slowly just, incorporate this together. And then I'm going to put me a 1/2 cup of milk, whole milk, to this. And we're just going to slowly just, get this all mixed up. Honey, I wish you could smell this. Ooh, it smells so yummy. Now, I've never made this before, but, with me thinking about this, I thought, I am going to try this. So when we make this today and try it, we'll be trying it together for the first time. And we crushed us a cup of pecans, and we're going to pour that over in there. Let's incorporate that together. All right, now let's put a 1.5 cups of coconut. Honey, with all these ingredients, it's going to have to be yummy. All right, now we're going to mix this all up together, and incorporate it together. And then, honey, it's gonna be ready to put in a pan. I already want to take a bite of it. It smells so good, but I can't eat them raw eggs. All right, I got this all mixed up, so I'm gonna go get me a pan, and I'll be right back to pour this yummy stuff over in it. Okay, honey, I got my little bundt pan, and we greased it, pretty good, and now we're gonna pour this yummy stuff over. Okay, now we'll just spread this out evenly in our little bundt pan. Ooh, this is ready to get in the oven now. Now let me tell you, preheat your oven to 325, and we're gonna bake this yummy thing for 1 hour and 10 minutes. But like I always tell you, watch your oven, okay? Because everybody's is different. Let's go put it in the oven. Okay, now our cake is all ready for this little last step, and this is gonna be our little glaze that we're gonna put on it. In my pan, I've got me 1.5 sticks of salted butter, and honey, we're melting that, and then I'm gonna put me 2/3 cups of white sugar and 2/3 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna whisk that all together and let it come to a good bubbling that all the sugar's incorporated with our butter and stuff. And honey, that is going to be a yummy little glaze to go on that. I tell you, that will knock your socks off right here. Okay, now we've cooked this till all the sugar has dissolved in this, and I'd say it was about 3 to 5 minutes. You just watch it, and honey, I will tell you to constantly whisk this because you don't want it to burn. Ooh, I'm excited. Now we're ready to pour this over our cake. So let's go get that cake and pour this yummy glaze on it. Okay, y'all, our little vanilla wafer cake, it's all ready and hot out of the oven. But before I do the last little step to it, honey, I want you to see what one of my sweet followers did. Y'all, it made me cry. It made me so happy that somebody that was that thoughtful to do something like this for me. He's one of my husband's co-worker, and my husband brought it home to me today. And Michael, I just want to tell you thank you so much. That touched my heart so deep, and thank you. It's beautiful, isn't it? He even put Nanny Shell in pink. I love pink. Okay, now this yummy cake's ready for the glaze. Honey, I got my ladle so that I won't miss any of this yummy glaze to pour on this. I can't wait to take a bite of this. Now let me remind you something about this. I did let my cake cool for about 15 minutes in the pan. And let me give you a little hint. If this cake sticks to the rim of your little bundt pan, honey, just get you a butter knife and go down the sides and down in the middle to loosen that up when you go to flip it out of it. Because this is a little sticky cake. Now we're gonna finish putting this glaze on this, and then honey, we're gonna taste it. Let's taste this. Give me a good bite. Woo, that's good. You remember, smile because God sure loves you, and baby, He's got this no matter what.